I've taken 5 high-ticket closers inside my Unicorn Closer Mastermind to all earning over $100,000 a month in commissions. And I've helped them all accomplish that reality within 17 months or less. 17 months, 16 months, 15 months, even 14 months. Why then do most high-ticket closers earn less money despite putting in many more months or years or decades into trying to master sales? It all comes down to one simple mistake that you're about to discover in this video that keeps high-ticket closers earning less money despite putting in substantially more time and effort. So if you want to earn life-changing money and you want to do that in record time, you need to understand what you're about to discover in this private training. So without any further ado, let's crack into the training.
This training, the first thing I'm going to share with you is a question. And that question is, and put in the chat your answer, what is your number one job in sales? Find the truth, closing, changing people's lives, helping people change, collect cash, diagnose, serve, support yourself, helping, printing. All right, stop. Nobody else put anything else in the chat. How surprised would any of you be if I said none of you have got it? Not one of you. Hence why I'm doing the training, because I thought, I wonder if everybody else is unaware of this. Okay? The typical thing that people think when it comes to what is my job on a sales call is some form of closed deals, obviously. Now that could be, the specifics of getting to the truth. That could be the specifics of what have we got in here? Helping the prospects, I'll just call it help, or serving. We've seen that a bunch of times. Printing, so just making money, right? All of these are just variations of my job as a salesperson is to close deals. These are the tactics of how I'm going to do it. If you do this, guys, you will completely drop the ball. Your actual job as a salesperson is not to close deals. Your one job as a salesperson is this: to get better at closing deals. And some of you might be wondering, what the fuck's the difference? Like, these two sound pretty similar. Let me show you visually the difference. Okay, so January, February, March, April, May, 3, 4, 5, June. 6 months, okay? If your job was to get to the truth and to serve and to close deals, that could look like this for the business owner and also for your results. Each month, you've done 200,000 in cash collected. January, 200K. February, 200K. March, also 200K. And so on and so forth. And so if you thought your job was to close deals and to get to the truth, based on this, you've done a great job. You've closed consistently every month. You've been bringing in a decent-ish amount of money for the business owner compared to the usual statistics. That is not your job, guys. Your job is that over time, you are getting better at sales. You are actually getting better at mastering the skill of sales and closing more deals. If you look at your statistics, guys, any of you, and over months, or for some of you that may have been here a year, your numbers haven't gone up. You are failing at your job, even if you're closing deals right now. Okay? Now, I learned this in principle from my second favorite person, Jordan Peterson. Number one would be Underground Mentor, but second favorite person, as far as learning things from, would be Jordan Peterson. And the way he explains this is you have, he calls it a dominance hierarchy, which basically just means society. And what he's basically saying is at the bottom, you've got people that suck. And at the top, you've got people that succeed, people that are great, people that win. And what most people think the job is, the game, is to go from the bottom to the top. Currently, I lose at everything that I do, and I want to get to a point where I win at everything I do. What he actually explains is that the real game is not to win at the game. The real game is to get better at winning at every game. In other words, you're getting better at going from the top here to the top here to the top here to the top here. In other words, you could win at anything. It's not just winning the game, so to speak. It's getting better at winning games. They are very different, but they sound hard to wrap your head around. Your job is to not be closing sales. In other words, winning at sales. Your job is to get better at winning at sales. One is movement and the other is just stagnation and just the current level that you're at. Does this make sense, folks? Okay. Anybody confused? Okay. So your job isn't, I'm going to write it very clearly here. Okay. So your job isn't to win at the game. Your job is to get better at winning the game. They are not the same thing. Okay? Your job as a salesperson is not to close deals. Your job is to get better at closing deals over time. Is anybody confused?
And that allows us to close bigger and better deals, right?
100%, George. So to get better at winning the game means I close more consistently. I have a higher close rate. I can close and collect more money up front. I can collect money at a higher price point. Absolutely. If you're so let's break that down. What George just said, that's fantastic. So we've got those four. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got close rate, you've got cash collected, you've got consistency, and you've got price point. Okay? And this is, we'll just call it Q1, so 4 months, Q2, Q3, Q4. So this is over 12 months. Okay? If your close rate is 25% and Q2 it is 25% and Q3 it is 25% and Q4 it's 25%, you don't understand the game, guys. If they are not actually putting in the time to get better at the game, no matter where they're at currently at the game, it will stay like that. It won't get any better. What you need to be measuring, folks, is not, oh, I closed sales. I got to the truth. I did these things. The game that you need to be playing is, are these numbers going up over time? Okay, so what it should look like, as George said, to now break it down into these 4 things, 25, 30, 35, 40. But that's just one measurement. We could say this person is getting 30% paid in full. So most of it's not paid in full. So it's on payment plans. So let me rephrase that. Not 30% paid in full. 30% of the money for the product or service they collect up front. So if it's a 10K product, they're only actually getting 3K when they close the deal. Second quarter, they've got this up to 50%. So they're pretty much on a 2Pay. Then they get it up to 75%. And then they get it up to most of their deals, they're collecting the money up front. Consistency, I've said it again. You typically get 1 week and then you fall into a rut. Then 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then 4 weeks. And at this point, you're able to go a whole month without falling into a rut, maybe a day here or there. This one's very important. If you've been here for a year, or if you've been in high ticket sales for a year, are you selling at the same price point that you sold a year ago? And you might say, yeah, but I'm on the same offer. Fuck that, guys. When I got put on an offer, I'll just sell the shit for double the price. If it's a 5K offer, I'll just sell it for 10 because I can, so long as ethically I know it's worth that price. So don't make the bullshit excuse of, well, yeah, but I'm on the same offer. If your offer is, so when I sold 5K, when I got put on a 5K offer, day 1, I sold it for 10. And the guy that was the sales manager at the time, good friend of mine, he was like, what the fuck did you just do? I was like, I just said it was 10K. And then the whole sales team started selling it for 10K. But that offer had been around, that offer had already been around for at least 6 months, maybe 12. And so for the whole 6 to 12 months, everyone was selling it for 5K. And they would have gone, I'm doing my job. I'm a good salesperson. I'm closing deals. I'm getting 5K paid in full. Well, I was like, why don't you just sell it for 10? And the moment I did, past a week later, everybody was able to sling it for 10K because it was just a belief thing. Okay, so over time, like Jacob from his old offers back in the day to then coming on as a setter, although it's not quite the price point as a setter, but moving through these ranks, selling a 5K thingy, selling a 10K thingy, selling 15 to 20, and then selling a 30K plus. These are the progressions that you need to make, folks. Your job is not to win the game. Your job is to get better at winning the game. And so now we're going to bring this all the way back down to terra firma, meaning ground zero. What that means, guys, if your schedule, folks, is just taking calls all day, every day, all week, bar going to the gym, going for your morning walk, meeting up with your girlfriend, spending time with your kids, whatever. If your schedule is not built to get better at winning the game, you won't end up playing that game, guys. You will be playing the game of, I'm just playing the game to win the game, not to get better at winning the game. You have to carve out time in your schedule to get better at winning the game. And actually, when I look back to one of the big reasons I made so much money so quickly and progressed so quickly, if I was to boil it down to the most tangible thing, forget the spirituality, having a mentor, all of that, the most tangible thing, there was way more time in my schedule to get better at the game than every other salesperson. Boiling it down to the most tangible thing, they would have, kind of like the Unicorn Mastermind, a Wednesday 4-hour training thingy. And they would go, cool. And then maybe one day a week, one of my sales managers gives me a cool review and we do that together. So it's on a 1-hour daily huddle, whatever. And so their schedule is 5 hours, 5 hours of getting better at the game. Mine was, I'll take 3 calls a day. This is in the beginning. And I'll spend 7 hours a day listening to cool reviews and role-playing with myself in my head, the stuff that George was doing recently as far as you go through the transcript, you rewrite it, and then you speak it out loud. Doing the internal stuff. It was 3 hours on calls because I knew that wasn't my job. My job was the 7 hours to get better at the calls. And so if your schedule is not built correctly, folks, you will be playing the wrong game and trying to win at the game instead of trying to get better at winning the game. That's it. Any questions?
Josh,
Any feedback?
I have a question.
Go for it. Was that too abrupt of an ending, folks? Do I need to like cool you down a little bit? Do we not go from like boom up here down to there, whiplash? Aftercare, yeah. You're all like, what? What just happened? To be clear, I am not saying tack on a bunch of sales training onto the hours that you're currently doing. What I'm saying, folks, is if you do not get that you have to switch the game, which means take less calls to do more hours training, yes, you're going to make less money initially, but you're going to get better. You're going to be able to get on a better offer and sell at a higher price point. You're going to be able to have a higher close rate. So even though you're taking less calls, your efficiency is higher. When you do take a call, you'll get more money up front. And you will not get burned out as often because you'll do the inner work. And also by doing the scriptless selling training, you'll find your calls less exhausting. So to be clear, guys, this is where salespeople get fucked up. They're like, but I'm already working 10 hours a day. Like, how do I do that? You take less calls. No, I don't want to do that because then I'll make less money. Fine. But then you'll always make the money that you're making now because you don't get that the game is not to close deals. The game is to get better at closing deals, to become more. You have to sacrifice what you have right now temporarily to get better, to then surpass where you're at now. So don't look at your schedule and go, oh, Josh said I have to do more training, so let me just do like, I'll get up 2 hours earlier, I'll go to bed 2 hours later. That's not what I'm saying, guys. I'm saying if you're taking 8 calls a day, I guarantee you, and you're not doing enough outside of that training, 6 months from now, you'll have the same close rate, on the same offer, selling at the same price point, with the same level of inconsistency, and not getting any better at cash collecting. And 6 months will go by, and you'll be in the same fucking position. You have to take less calls to get better. And some of you might be thinking, well, my offer owner isn't going to want to accept that. You should know by now, guys, for those that have been here long enough, the truth will always prevail. If you actually get on an interview call or a call if you're already on the offer with the sales manager and you explain what I just said, not only are they going to get it, they're going to think you're a fucking genius, because compared to the average salesperson, you will be. If you say to them, quick question, do you want me to close the same amount of deals per month over the next 6 months? Or do you want me to get better? And before you answer that, Mr. Sales Manager, Mrs. Sales Manager, what I mean by get better is you're going to spend less money per lead that you put on my calendar because my efficiency is higher. So I'm actually going to be more profitable to the business. What you've got to realize is the thing that bothers business owners or sales managers is when they're trying to micromanage this beast of 20 closers, 10 closers, whatever, and they don't know what's around the corner. The closer that's doing all right all of a sudden burns out and they're like, shit, where did the cash flow go? Or they have to fire someone and rehire them. If you tell the sales manager from day one, thank you very much for the interview. By the way, once you've gone through their side of things, just to be clear, at this moment in time, the maximum amount of calls I would be willing to take is blank. It's not because I'm a lazy piece of shit. It's actually because I want to become the best. And therefore, I'm going to do this. And that's going to allow me to do this, 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 and this. Now, to be clear, guys, just like the conversation with Jeremy and the random dude that said, send me the link, there'll be a lot of sales managers that say, nah, sorry, we just want someone that takes 10. If you're a leader, guys, what are you going to say when they say that? But the point of it is you just have a truthful conversation with the business owner. Completely understand why you might be hesitant to this. Can I challenge you on that? If you say that with respect, not egotistically, most sales managers will say, okay. They'll be a little bit skeptical. And you just very pleasantly and very politely walk them through a summarized version of what I just shared with you. My job is not to just close your deals. My job is to get better at closing your deals, because when I get better, it costs you less every time you put a lead on my calendar. My role is not to just maintain my close rate and maintain my cash collected for the next 6 months that I'm going to be here. That's future pacing NLP, by the way, when I'm going to be here. My job is that when I'm on this offer, every single month that goes by, you're going to be looking at me and sending a message into the Slack channel saying, what is this guy doing that every month is better than the last month? And the thing that's going to allow me to do that is have enough time to actually develop. Whereas all the other closers that you might make a mistake of hiring, every month that goes by, they're going to cost you the same amount of money to put those leads on the calendar. They're not going to be improving. They're not going to be getting better. If that's what if that's what you're looking for, someone that doesn't grow, maybe I'm not the best closer for you. That would be an unsell at the end.
Josh, what would you say if the manager...
One sec. You just take everything you've learned in the mastermind, scriptless selling, authenticity, real conversation, being a leader, and you just do that on the interview, guys. But you have to be willing to have your boundaries, which if you want to get better, this has to be your boundary. You can't burn yourself out on sales calls and not have time to train. You cannot get better at sales unless you operate with these boundaries that I'm giving you. You will just be the same fucking closer in 12 months' time. And if you're measuring yourself on, well, I made 20K every month, so I'm doing great, and that's what you think your job is, you're playing the wrong game. Your job, your purpose to be in this mastermind is to actualize, to get better, to grow. I will be ripping Jacob to shreds and Nicole to shreds and Skylar to shreds if a year from now they're only doing 100K a month. I'll be like, what the fuck have you been doing for the last year? Why are you still the same person? I won't be patting them on the back and saying, well, yeah, you're still at 100K a month. Well done. The point of being here is to get better, to evolve, to change as a person, to transform. You have to realize that's the game you need to be playing. Number one, if you want to be here. And number two, if you actually want to have meaning, fulfillment, and purpose in life. It's not about your results. It's about the change of results over time. Does that all make sense? Jordan, what's up?
Curious, what is the best way? So as you start off and let's say had a month, it was like 20% close rate, then 25, then 33, 35, now leading into the next month, it's kind of like the mindset starts to say like, oh gosh, like, was that just a good month? Like last month, can I repeat that? I'm starting in at 0 again for the next month. Is there anything that you did mindset wise that helped you continuously grow to those new levels and not have that internal friction, I guess, or adjusting to it, or any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think that would come back to the meme in the mastermind that UM's done a rant on called process focused and outcome attached. The process that you need to be focusing on month to month, even if your close rate is going up, is the inputs that you're doing. So long as I would know, which I did when I was a full-time closer, it's not going to be luck in the sense of if I have the same results this month or if they go down or if they go up. Whatever the results are the best they were going to be because of the inputs that I was doing. I was always looking at my inputs on my calendar and saying, I'm controlling my state, not hanging around with losers. I'm going on the beach every day and going for a walk for 3 hours, grounding myself in the sun, the sand, space. So like it was a beach where there was nobody on the beach. So I was just alone, chilling myself out. And while I was on the beach, I was listening to back call reviews or rants from UM, although they weren't rants at the time. They were just voice notes to me. And I was doing that every day. And then when I had a no-show, I was either doing my workout because I had my equipment at home, or I was back into more cool stuff, like more training, reviewing my calls, transcribing my calls. The inputs was always staying the same. So I was very detached from the outputs. If I had a month that went down, it was like, well, what am I going to do? Change my inputs because I had a bad month? No, the inputs I'm doing, I believe in. I know I'm doing the right thing. And lo and behold, even if I had a bit of a dip, it would go back up again. So it's remembering that principle of focusing on the inputs, the process, not the outputs. And this is literally the opposite of what these members that I mentioned have done, is they're now looking at the outputs. I need to take calls. I need to take calls. I need to close deals. I need to close deals. Well, you're focused on the outcomes then, which not only will push the outcomes away from you energetically, the frequency that you're operating from, but you're not going to improve the outputs because you're not doing the inputs. You'll actually go back down. Okay? Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah, so you're pulling your confidence more from your inputs, not the results.
100%. Jeremy?
So going back to the question, you were talking about the manager, and you said to the manager, that I need to, take more calls, or, or take less calls, or, have more time to invest in my growth. What if they or have the philosophy of, well, can you do that outside of work hours? And just, during work hours, we expect you to be on the calls, not on, training for 4 hours out of the middle of your day on a Wednesday, let's say, or 2 hours on a Friday when we're on the role play calls.
It all just goes back to having the confidence and the conviction, Jeremy, that if the sales manager is telling you that and they have a point, you're going to be triggered. You're going to have your feathers ruffled and you're going to not know what to say. But if a fucking sales manager at the time had told that to me, I would say, I'm working 7 days a week. I'm doing 3 calls that turn up, but my calendar is blocked out for 5. So I can't plan anything else in. And I literally wake up, do not socialize, do not have a girlfriend, do not hang out with friends, do not hang out with family, do not drink alcohol, do not smoke, do not hang around on YouTube. All I'm doing all day long is bettering myself. So whilst I appreciate you asking the question, the answer is no. Right. Whereas when we don't know what to say, it's like, like even Jacob said in the chat here, I think he said 4 calls. Yeah, four calls typically a day. Jacob shared with me on an interview that I did with him yesterday. No, in fact, was it an interview? No, I think it was DMs. That there's still many hours that he's messing around. So those hours that he's messing around, that he's aware of, because he's humble enough to say, I did a great month, but I can do more. He's not sitting there saying, oh, Josh is telling me I need to do more sales training and I'm just going to burn out because I'm already taking calls. He's looking rationally without ego and saying, yes, I'm taking the calls. Yes, I'm doing the training, but there's still hours where I'm fucking around. If I stop doing the fucking around in those hours could be more productive. And so when you talk about the sales manager saying, well, can't you do this? Usually they would be saying that to you, just like when a prospect on a call gives you something like, can I speak to your clients, or is there a guarantee? The sales manager is bringing those types of questions to you because of your energy that you brought to them. The sales manager is like, I can just feel that this person's playing me for a fool, saying, oh, I can only do 3 calls a day or 4 calls a day. I know full well from their energy, from their vibe, they haven't got their shit together. Does that make sense, Jeremy? Like if you think about it from a prospect on a call, and the prospect, you know, sometimes I've said when we do role plays here, I said, the prospect that you're being wouldn't do that if they were this far in the call with me. They just wouldn't do that. And a lot of you are like, but why? Because they do it to me. Like, yes, because you weren't doing the things right further upstream. It's the same with all conversations and all contexts. People talk to you and communicate to you and look at you in a certain way based on what you've communicated to them, verbally and non-verbally. This is who I am, so you can talk to me in kind. You can talk to me the way you perceive me. Whereas if you change their perception of you, they won't talk to you the same way. Does that all make sense?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Emil, what's up?
Yeah, so question, would you always do this schedule or would you work in seasons? So 1 month more sales calls, 1 month more trading, or would it always be like this?
It wouldn't be seasons in terms of training versus no training, but there might be seasons where I'm going to turn down some of the training, but I'm not going to turn, as in lower the amount of hours I'm training, but I'm not going to lower those amount of hours that I'm training so I can go to the cinema once a week or do whatever. So for example, when I was on the offer that I first made 100K on, 100K a month, I was doing probably 2 hours of training a day, and that's 7 days a week. And the rest of it, I was pretty much on calls, doing my morning walk, doing a workout at home, or eating or having a power nap or whatever. Like there was nothing else in my life. Whereas when I was on my first offer and I was taking 3 calls a day, thereabouts, I was probably training for 6 hours a day. And the reason that the difference is number one, there was just an insane amount of leads that were on the crypto offer. But number two, it was a bull market. So it's like, this isn't going to last forever. Like this is going to last for a year and then it's done. So I took it while it was there. But there would have never been a time where I would have turned around to UM and said, hey, by the way, I appreciate you wanting to do a call review for me, but I don't have time to do training. I'm taking calls.
Okay.
Right. So yes, there are times where you'll do less, but this idea of the reason I'm doing less training is because I'm taking the calls and I don't think I need the training, like that's not what it should be. Because even if their calendar was all of a sudden packed with leads, they don't have the skill set to make 100K a month. So what? They're at, I'll just make a random number, 15K a month in commissions prior to the lead flow increasing. And now because the lead flow is increasing, they're doubling down on taking the calls so that they can get to 20. The difference is no fucking money. You at 15K or you at 20K, there's no fucking difference. But to them, they don't see that. But I have a responsibility to all of you to go, I wonder if any of you were about to not realize this. And I want to make sure that you're all clear of the way to think this through so that you don't shoot yourself in the foot. Make sense?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. You're very welcome. Anybody else? Questions, feedback, takeaways on this training? Nope. All right, folks, that is our initial training. So let's jump into our cool reviews. Who's first?
So there you have it. Your number one job in sales, if you want to go all the way up to $100,000 a month in commissions in record time, is not to take sales calls and close sales calls. Your number one job is to train to get better at sales calls. Right now, is your schedule packed with training time? Time to be mentored, time to be in a community of other high-ticket closers who are on the path to becoming unicorns. If you look at your schedule and all you see is taking sales calls or your personal life, and there is a very small, if not zero amount of time dedicated to the number one job in sales if you want to become a unicorn closer, which is getting better at sales, then I can guarantee you right now, you will not earn $100,000 a month in commissions, neither will you get to a high level of income in any record time. I've taken 5 high-ticket closers to all getting to $100,000 a month in commissions within 17 months or less. And it all boils down to this one shift. Your number one job in sales is not to take sales calls or close sales calls. It's to get better at taking sales calls. If you want to align yourself with a private community of other unicorns that are on this path to mastery, there is a link below this video to join the Unicorn Closer Mastermind. You'll get training, support, mentorship, guidance, and a community dedicated for closers that want to become the top 1% of closers that exist. Unicorn closers that go on to earn $100,000 a month in commissions and build the life of their dreams. If that is something that you want to accomplish and you want to accomplish that reality in record time, you know what you need to do. Click the link below this video, join the mastermind, and I'll see you there.